Good evening and welcome to Story Hour. I'm tonight's host, Laura Blackwell. My co-host, the marvelous Daniel Marcus, started Story Hour over 5 years ago so people could all stay connected during the pandemic that officially is over. So welcome to those of you returning and welcome to those of you joining us for the first time here on YouTube and Zoom. As always, we have two writers reading their own work. Tonight's readers are two of my favorite horror writers and two of my favorite horror writing humans. Two extremely nice people whose brains somehow churn out things you really would not expect from casual conversation with them. That's right. Tonight, we've had Angela Sylvaine and Sam Rebelein. So if you're here on Zoom with us, feel free to chime in on the text chat. If you're here on YouTube, enjoy watching Story Hour without the pressures of socializing. And our first reader tonight is Angela Sylvaine. Angela Sylvaine is a self-proclaimed cheerful goth who writes speculative fiction and poetry. Her novel Frostbite, a 90s sci-fi horror comedy set in a very thinly veiled North Dakota, Grand Forks specifically, and her retro 80s YA mall slasher novella Chopping Spree embody her cheerful side. Her short story collection, The Dead Spot, Stories of Lost Girls, is a fully goth and heartbreaking. And it was also nominated for a Bram Stoker Award, which she didn't put in her bio, but I mean, come on. Sometimes I have to editorialize. Congratulations. Angela's short fiction and poetry have appeared in over 60 magazines, anthologies, and podcasts, including Southwest Review, Apex, and the No Sleep podcast. She lives in the shadow of the Rocky Mountains with her sweetheart and three creepy cats. You can find her online at angelasylvaine.com. Angela, welcome back.
Thank you so much. And for our listeners and viewers, your shout out to Grand Forks. Some may not know that Laura is also from Grand Forks, North Dakota. So we just missed each other a little bit. Laura actually went to high school with my husband's older brother. So, mhm.
That's right. That's right. And I lived down the street from another Grand Forks notable, Marilyn Haggerty.
Yes, of the
Yes.
best food reviews, food critics.
Okay, they weren't reviews. She knew Grand Forks didn't have a food scene, so she wrote a column about going to restaurants,
Yes,
which, if you mistake them for reviews, are hilarious. And she went viral with one about Olive Garden.
that's right. And she became friends with Anthony Bourdain, and she was very sweet.
She did, and she was a guest judge on Top Chef. And I mean, if Marilyn wasn't a role model before, I mean, now, obviously. Yes.
Yep.
Sam's writing down Marilyn Haggerty. Look her up. So, Angela, what have you brought for us to read tonight?
Well, I'm going to be reading Marilyn Haggerty's review of the Olive Garden. No, I'm just kidding. I'm actually not. I'll be reading two short stories tonight. The first one is kind of sad, and the second one is a little funnier. So we'll add on a little bit of an up note, end on a little bit of an up note. So the first one is from my collection, The Dead Spot, Stories of Lost Girls.
We'll hold that up higher so we
And
can see that whole beautiful color. Cover. Oh, so beautifully desaturated
Skulls
and
and
gloomy.
Flowers. And the story is called Burnt Embers and Bluebirds. And this has a content warning of death of a parent and death of a child. Okay, here we go. The paper doll girls enter the library like a whisper, feet silent on the linoleum floor. People move instinctively out of the way, as if nudged by an invisible cloche that protects the pristine girls from contamination. Sitting in the back corner of the library at a wood cubicle that allows me to hide should they look my way, something they've never done, I watched the two of them walk down an aisle, running their hands along the spines of the books, their eyes closed. They seem to choose based on feel. One stops, says here, and extracts a book from the shelf. Dropping to the floor, they sit cross-legged in the aisle, knee to knee. They wear Mary Janes and prim dresses fit for girls younger than they, made from fabric of flowers and butterflies, belted at the waist with red ribbons that match the bows in their hair. They look just like the paper dolls from Grandma's old newspapers, back issues of the Boston Herald. She'd pull a paper from the pile, flip the yellowing pages until she found one of the dolls, and sit me on the floor with a pair of scissors. The dolls are gone now, burned up in the fire, heavenly company for Mom and Grandma, I hope. The paper doll girl who chose the book holds it close to her face, examining the title, rubbing the cover against each cheek, inhaling the musty sweet scent of the pages before opening it on her lap. Though she leans down, her hair doesn't move, staying perfectly in place in a graceful drape over her shoulders and back. She reads a page with eyes and fingers, then passes the book to the other girl where the process is repeated, back and forth with each page flip. I picture square tabs sticking from their shoulders, their hips, their heads. A patron walks down the aisle, asks them to move, but they continue with their circuit, as if hearing nothing. Some days there are raised voices or complaints to the librarians, but the paper doll girls are a part of this place, offered the same deference as priests in a church. When the announcement comes, stating the library will close in 10 minutes, they stand in unison and place the book back on the shelf. The girls walk to the end of the aisle, sucking their paper-cut fingers, and stop to stare at me. I freeze, forget to hide under the weight of their unnatural eyes, twin pairs of iridescent opals. They each lift a hand and wave at me. Before I can wave back, they leave through the stairwell door. Once inside, they climb the stairs from the basement library with the graceful steps of ballerinas, round the landing between the flights, and are gone until the next day. I know this because one night after the library had closed, I followed them to see where they go. As soon as the stairwell door closes, I rush from my cubicle to their aisle, in the 700 section today, and locate the book. Third shelf from the top, 5 sections in, black jacketed spine with bold white lettering, William Blake, Complete Collection. I rub my cheeks on the cover, which features a man kneeling within a flaming disc. I inhale the scent of the pages and rub my finger along the closed edge. Pain slices through my tender fingertip, and I smile, collecting another hint of their blood to mingle with my own. Clutching the book to my chest, I pass the rows of tables and the groupings of comfy chairs and step up to the counter, push my book across to the librarian along with my library card. "How are you today, Farah?" she asks. She's the nice one who gives me food sometimes. Hair hiding my face in a very unpaper doll-like way, I focus on my grimy tennis shoes and say, "Fine." The machine beeps as she scans my card and the book, then slides both back to me. A white bread sandwich in a baggie sits atop the stack. My stomach growls. "Thank you," I say, tucking the card in my pocket before taking the book and my dinner. "See you tomorrow, hun." I rush from the counter, past the last few people heading up to check out their books. Once in the stairwell, I unwrap the sandwich and eat it in a few big bites. Creamy butter and jam, strawberry with chunks of fruit, and tiny seeds that stick in my teeth for later. Since running away from the foster home, I mostly survive on dumpster scraps, and I've learned to eat quickly or be chased off. Folding the baggie, I slip it in my pocket. They work well to keep my feet dry when the rain is too heavy. The backpack containing my worldly possessions is wedged beneath the stairs, and I pull it free. My breath locks in my lungs at the sight of a red ribbon tied to the handle in a perfect bow. I place William Blake Complete Works on the returns cart at the end of the librarian's desk and slip past the other patrons. Morning is the busiest time, the worst time, but the dozen or so people littering the entry area don't bother me today. I slip past them, through them, my mind clear and full to the brim all at once. Sitting in my normal spot at the farthest cluster of cubicles, I adjust the ribbon in my hair, uncaring that the bow is out of place with my grubby sweatshirt and jeans. The paper doll girls have never shown me anything so incredible as Blake's paintings. Art is a favorite of theirs, along with fashion, astrophysics, Buddhism, parapsychology, magic, and dead languages. Sometimes they read fiction too, everything from children's books like The Very Hungry Caterpillar to literature like The Bell Jar. That one made me sad, reminded me of Mom. But Blake affected me more than any book yet. I knew him as a poet, but his paintings unlocked something inside me his words never had. Sitting in my makeshift tent tucked at the back of the alley behind the bus depot, I pored over his images of God and angels, of spirits and fantastical worlds. Tears streamed from my eyes, cleansing the dirt and grime from my face, carrying away the loneliness and pain I'd been holding onto so tight, releasing me. The stairwell door slams, and the paper girl dolls arrow toward the aisle closest to me and stop at my cubicle. Hi, I say, my voice an awkward squeak of nervousness. One holds a book, not chosen from a shelf, but brought from wherever they go when the library closes. They angle their heads down the aisle as if inviting me to follow them, then disappear between the shelves. I rush after, stumbling, my toe catching the leg of a chair. The paper doll girls sit cross legged at the end of the aisle, not facing each other but forming two sides of a triangle. I slow, unsure of myself, embarrassed. The one holding the book places it in the empty spot and points at me. My mud slicked shoes squeak on the floor and I cringe. Panic rises in my throat because I think they'll laugh and tell me I don't belong here, because this will be taken from me like everything else and I'll be alone like always. The bow in my hair tightens, a pleasant pressure, a reassurance, and I take the last few steps. With trembling hands, I stoop to pick up the book and sit down, pressing my knee to theirs. They look at me with eyes made of fractured moonlight, then cast their gazes down to the book in my lap, covered in rough woven fabric printed with hieroglyphics and mathematical equations. It has no title. When I open the cover, a soft breeze smelling faintly of freshly turned earth tickles my nose. Each page holds only one word, a girl's name written in a blotchy brown paint. Savannah, Priya, Becky, Hero, Inez, Poppy, and on and on. I read each one, trace the shape with my eyes, let the taste of each letter bloom on my tongue, until I reach a blank page near the back, and I know. For me, a flutter fills my stomach, my throat, my head. The paper doll girls beam at me, revealing dimpled cheeks. You belong with us, they say, though their mouths don't move. Warmth envelops me as I caress the page, my page, running my fingertips over the gilded edges until they slice into my fingertip. Not blotchy brown paint at all. I scrawl Farah in looping script, blood flowing as if dipped from an inkwell. Raising my finger, I blow on the page, watch as red turns to brown. A tingling starts in my hands, runs up my arms, my legs, my scalp. My vision blurs slightly, then sharpens, and I see everything around me more clearly than ever before. See the molecules that vibrate within the books on the shelves, the floor, even the air itself. The paper doll girls glow with an internal light that hums within their chests, each heart a prism barely encased in muscle and bone. My own chest cools, extinguishing the last of the burnt embers that coat my heart. A dress appears atop my clothes, white cotton printed with bluebirds. My throat tight with gratitude, I try to speak, but no words can describe this feeling, this elation. this freedom from loneliness. I'm one of them now, one of so many sisters. Thank you, I say. One of the girls reaches out and takes the book from me, her smile widening, her teeth sharpening. The other girl smiles to match, and their eyes shift, turning from opal to obsidian. I gasp and skitter backward. The girls stand, and in a flash of orange, their paper doll disguises are burned away to reveal what's underneath. Clawed hands and feet, snouts like jackals, twisting horns in place of perfect bows. They're not the angels from Blake's paintings at all. They're the demons. I try to run, but they lash out with spiked tails, wrapping my arms and holding me in place. Heat flashes over my exposed skin, singes each tiny hair, and I whimper. It's just like that night with Mom and the matches. Fleshy wings sprout from their backs and wrap around me, cocoon me. I scream until my voice is hoarse, until the fire eats my tongue and melts my throat, and no one comes, no one cares. Maybe they only see paper dolls. You belong with us, they growl. You're welcome. Flames devour every patch of skin, every muscle, every bone, every thought. All those names, all those poor girls. I hope at least they're waiting for me. Okay, that's that one. That's the sad one. So now we're gonna go a little bit different direction for story number two. So story number two is called Meat is Murder. And this is a reprint from 2000 Word Terrors from Rooster Republic. And the content warning on this one is murder. Bleach fumes stung Jeannie's nose and throat, stripping away the lingering smells of patchouli and rotting food scraps, and cleansing her of the anger that had gradually fogged her brain over the past few months. Clean house, clean mind, her mother always used to say, though Jeannie never really got what she meant until now. Crystal, the roommate from hell, was gone for good, and Jeannie's home was her own again. When she'd seen the realtor's sign for sale sign in the front yard of the adorable row house with the aqua facade and the white scalloped trim, she knew she'd found her dream home. Even the narrow backyard, too small for anyone with children or pets, suited her perfectly, with its privacy fences on either side, raised garden bed, and patio perfect for sitting in the shade of the trees with a nice book. The mortgage stretched her budget to its limit, but her mother moved in and helped with the bills. The two of them painted the walls of every room in different shades of blue and installed crown molding befitting the loveliness of the space. Then her mother died. Jeannie had lost the person she loved most in the world, and now she was at risk of losing her dream home. She'd been forced to take on a roommate, not a prospect she looked forward to, but preferable to losing her house. Crystal seemed nice at first, just opinionated. Jeannie, you should really make sure you get free range eggs. So she had. They were only 30 cents more a dozen, and she didn't like to think of poor little chickens stuffed in cages either. A reasonable request, she thought. Jeannie, I replaced your detergent and fabric softener with a more environmentally friendly brand that doesn't leave behind harmful chemicals. Okay, fine. Her laundry didn't get as soft and fluffy, but she could live with that. She wasn't completely inflexible after all. Jeannie, could you not play those old musicals when I'm around? I don't know how any self-respecting woman can listen to such sexist crap. That was too much. She'd grown up watching musicals with her mother and had all the songs memorized. Now they were suddenly sexist? Okay, My Fair Lady had its issues. And once she really started thinking about it, she had to admit Oklahoma wasn't great. And maybe Carousel. Miss Saigon was pretty cringy, not to mention Beauty and the Beast. But couldn't she just enjoy the music that reminded her of her mother without analyzing every word? Jeannie, you really should limit your showers to 5 minutes. every extra minute uses up to 5 gallons more water, and water is our most precious resource." She barely managed not to laugh out loud. Crystal showered no more than once a week, resulting in a BO problem that her all-natural deodorant couldn't hope to combat. Jeannie told her roommate she should shower more, not less, but stopped short of saying Crystal stunk, which she most definitely did. Jeannie hoped Crystal would mellow over time, but she only became more demanding. After Jeannie switched to cage-free eggs, then she was told she shouldn't eat eggs at all, really, or any kind of meat, because meat is murder. Crystal joined PETA and became vegan after watching Food Inc., which she forced Jeannie to sit through as well. So she stopped keeping animal byproducts in the house, only eating them as a treat when she dined out. No one could say she hadn't tried. Next, Crystal removed even the eco-friendly cleaning products, replacing them with ineffective homemade concoctions of water mixed with vinegar or lemon juice. To someone that actually enjoyed cleaning, this felt like a personal affront. Once again, Jeannie held her tongue. Instead of the sharp antibacterial scent she loved, the smell of homemade tofu and incense filled the house. She thought that was bad until Crystal announced she'd begun composting. The large bin in the backyard wasn't so bad, but the collection can beneath the sink stunk of rotting food scraps. To make matters even worse, mason jars filled with yellow liquid appeared on the counter, and Jeannie learned Crystal had also begun collecting her own urine for use in fertilizing the garden bed. Since Jeannie couldn't use any air freshener for fear of being berated about the harmful substances released into the air, she took to avoiding the kitchen. When Crystal demanded that Jeannie cease her daily showers and insisted she wear each set of her clothes at least 3 times before laundering, going so far as to create charts to track both challenges, she stormed out to avoid punching the woman in the face. She paid the utility bill, and she damn well used as much water as she pleased. Jeannie began to isolate herself to her bedroom, which had become more of a dorm room, where she wore headphones to listen to her musicals for fear of a Crystal rant. A small bookshelf beside the door served as a makeshift kitchen, the shelves filled with snacks, a cutting board, a pilfered chef's knife from the kitchen, and bread to make sandwiches. She'd even snuck in a mini fridge for water, milk, and other forbidden perishables. Even there, she couldn't completely escape Crystal, who slipped educational materials beneath her bedroom door, always marked to "Please recycle." One day, she arrived home to find her bedroom door open and Crystal inside. The place had been ransacked, framed family photos knocked from her nightstand, contraband cheese and other food strewn across the bed, and her treasured handmade quilt from her grandmother discarded on the floor. Crystal said she had known Jeannie was hiding something terrible, and here was the proof. With that proclamation, she held up the most damning evidence of all: bottled water. The sight of her roommate standing in what had been Jeannie's one safe haven ignited the fuse of anger she had kept tamped down deep inside. With a shrill scream, she grabbed the knife from its place atop the cutting board and stabbed Crystal in the throat, cutting off her incessant ranting. Blood gushed from her neck, and she slumped onto the discarded quilt, staining the patchwork fabric red. Jeannie left the body lying there, the knife still embedded in its throat, while she made a trip to the store for her beloved bleach-based cleaners and other supplies. Lemon juice and vinegar were no match for a corpse. Now, the house was immaculate. Even the tub where she'd chopped Crystal's body into small pieces, enough to fit in the backyard compost bin, had been scrubbed until not a trace of blood remained. Jeannie had to admit the bin was a good idea, a much more effective way to dispose of organic waste. And she mused that Crystal would have liked ending up as fertilizer for the garden bed. Inhaling the first breath of clean, untainted air she'd had in months, Jeannie placed the roommate wanted sign in the front window. The first 5 hadn't worked out so well. but next time would surely be a better match. That's it.
First five? At least she knows how to compost now.
Better way to get rid of bodies.
Yeah. Mm. Boy, very different in character from the first story.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I think that we've definitely got the goth and the cheerful. So very nice. So it is our way at Story Hour to just take a moment between the readings to let the first stories, sink in, burrow in like some kind of parasite, whatever works for really getting the most out of them. And just take a breath, and then you're ready for a new story. Everybody, that was Angela Sylvaine. Thank you, Angela. And our next reader tonight is Sam Rebelein. Sam Rebelein holds an MFA in creative writing from Goddard College with a focus on horror and memoir, a certificate of graduation from the Lubbock Area Square and Round Dance Federation, which I think is going to make you very popular at StokerCon. We'll have to, yeah, we'll get a little square dance going at the when we're supposed to be doing karaoke. Yeah, that'll be good. And that one trophy in Last of Us Part 2 from when you beat the game in permadeath mode. Hard to say which of these is his greatest achievement. Sam lives in Poughkeepsie, New York, where he writes spooky fiction and works as a professional tutor in the Writing Center at Dutchess Community College. His debut novel, Edenville, was nominated for a Bram Stoker Award, and it won a Wonderland Book Award for Best Novel. Sam's recent collection of interconnected short fiction, The Poorly Made and Other Things, is set in the same fictional upstate New York county as Edenville. It's also the setting for his fall 2025 novel, Galloway's Gospel. For more about Sam's work and pictures of his dog, Frodo, follow him on Instagram at RebelSam94. Sam, welcome back.
Oh my gosh, thank you. This is my half dozenth time with Story Hour, I think. I was just poking through our
As a
YouTube.
reader, maybe?
Yeah.
But then there's the guest hosting.
I've guest hosted too. Oh my gosh. I'm
I
a repeat
know,
offender here. But I'm happy to be back. Gonna update my well, I was gonna say I should update my bio, but I did just restart The Last of Us Part 2 again. Because and I don't want to get into a whole thing. The show just ain't doing it for me. But the game
I have
is
not seen any of this season, so I can't help you with that.
I don't know. Well, listen, the story that I have to share today is not about video games or zombies. There might be a little bit of square dancing adjacent to this story, but this is a weird clown story that has not been published yet, and it is called "The Clowns Begin to Congregate."
Oh.
And it's split into multiple parts. So this is part 1. This time, Batty is the first to arrive. To attract attention, Batty etches her Instagram handle into bathroom walls, the backs of stall doors. She carves it into windows. At Batty Clown, she writes in Sharpie in the middle of library books across the entire page. This is how Garrett finds her. He opens a book from the Greenbrier Public Library for school and finds scrawled in thick, angry black letters across page 49, at Batty Clown, come play. Whoever she is under the makeup, whoever actually runs the Batty Clown account, has done their due diligence by the time Garrett huddles under his blanket and rakes up enough courage to search for her online. There is so much content already in place. 24 Instagram reels viewed by Batty's 227 followers. Garrett can't bring himself to click on any of the videos. Batty Clown's profile picture is enough for him. It is a woman with classic clown makeup beaming into the camera, which wouldn't be so unsettling if the makeup weren't upside down. Imagine the classic red lips and painted blue eyes of a clown, but the bright red line of Batty's mouth opens across her brow. Her lips are her eyebrows. Her blue mouth looks like it's squinting with teeth as eyelashes, her tongue an eye. Worse, all of this makeup runs in long lines down her face as if Batty has stood under a heat lamp for hours. Bright red lipstick cries down her cheeks. Her lips are frothed with blue drool. The image burns into Garrett's mind, the effect more terrifying than he expected. In fact, he's so terrified by this single image that he cannot sleep. When he finally does, he dreams, of course, of Batty in his bedroom, dreams of her hanging from his ceiling, grinning down at him with her forehead grin, her teethy eyes. I'm Batty, baby. Who are you? He dreams of Batty 3 nights in a row until he can't take it anymore. He has to know what she's really like. Does she really hang from ceilings, or is that something his imagination just cooked up? Where do the things in our imagination come from anyway? Why are our minds so adept at concocting darkness and filth? Why does the void sing to us so loud? Garrett doesn't know why he feels pulled inexorably into Batty's embrace. He's terrified of her, but he can't look away. He can only look deeper. He feels only the need to scare himself so bad he isn't scared anymore. He knows he has to watch every single one of Batty's videos. He just has to. He doesn't know if this will make him feel better, but he must. In fact, by the time he's decided to do it, he's already tapped a greasy little fingertip against the screen of his phone. It's already unfolding. It's important to understand that Garrett is a doughy child who does not play sports and does not have many friends. It is terribly easy for him to spend hours in bed watching videos of Batty the clown. Each video begins with Batty crawling out of the woods, giggling to herself. She puts a finger to her brow, frowning so that it looks like her melting upside down forehead mouth is saying, shh. She then turns the camera around so Garrett can see where she's walking, through a backyard, right up to a window, right up to the glass. Her breath fogs against the window pane, but we can see the child inside. We can see the little bedroom, the little bed. Batty watches for a long time, giggling under her breath. Finally, she presses her face to the window, leaving the pasty impression of a face there, grinning upside down, frozen in such pristine alien condition, it blows Garrett's mind. The comments on these videos corroborate Garrett's worst fears. Here are the strange, growing branches of Batty's enigmatic canon. Batty was outside my school yesterday. I know a guy who says she's like Santa. She knows all of us. Bro, what a psycho. She strangles puppies. I saw her in my sleep. Smash. Next question. What is it? Is it a need to prove that this could actually be just some person? Is it a need to prove that Batty is not in any way supernatural? That any idiot could do this, could make this content? She doesn't know exactly where Garrett lives the way she does in his dreams. It's easy to believe she knows him personally because look at all these videos. Look at all these other kids she knows. But Garrett does not accept this. He has to see it for himself, has to see even deeper. He finds himself borrowing his mother's makeup, hears himself asking her to help him film a little video. She agrees, thinking this will be a nice creative outlet. He spends so much time alone in his room. In a roughly hewn makeup approximation of Batty, Garrett stalks through his own backyard, approaches his own window, and leaves his own smudgy face print there. It is easier than he'd imagined. When he stalks through the woods behind his yard, he finds the branches and burrs and dead leaves clinging to his clothes, hooking into his shoelaces. The wild is elated to have him in its embrace. He kisses the window with his forehead and stares at the print in awe. He marvels at the revelation that many 12-year-olds have when they sing in their first musical, paint their first horse, break their first icicle. It is so, so easy to create. 2. Winky arrives next. He appears with a bit of lore in tow, the origins of which are murky at best, but all the kids in Greenbrier seem to know it at once, simultaneously, like mass hypnosis, a gas within the air. Things travel quick across the networks of school buses, older brothers, sleepovers. They travel even faster, incomprehensibly fast, to the digital campfires of Instagram stories and TikTok and YouTube. Winky's father beat him so bad he knocked an eyeball loose. Winky loved to sing and dance, but it never made him happy enough to get over the memories of his dad. Winky had a twitchy face that always broke when he began to dance. He'd bob up and down, and his floppy bow tie would waggle, and he'd shake his red droopy wig, which was always dripping wet. Then his lips would snarl and tremble, his eyes would shudder, and one eye would roll wildly around his skull. He'd smack the side of his head to still the eye, and slowly would roll around until it found you. Photographic evidence of Winky was always captured in dark, cramped spaces, basements and attics, crawl spaces, and forgotten aisles of school libraries. The videos were predictable, but therefore tangible. Darkness, as some whispering group of teens approached Winky with a flashlight. He stood in concrete corners, spotlighted, dancing and twitching, and he'd smack his head, and the eye would roll and land directly on the camera. Winky would freeze, drool hanging from his lips, glistening in the trembling beam of white light. And then he'd lunge. The kids would always panic, dropping their camera or their phones, screaming far away off screen, leaving the camera behind to capture Winky as he grinned and picked the camera up with a white gloved fist. So ostensibly, it must be Winky who uploads these videos. Supposedly, he can also be summoned into your own basement if you wink 5 times in a mirror by the light of a black candle. By the time Garrett convinces his mother to take him to Walmart, they've already sold out of black candles. There is some concern amongst Greenbrier's conservative adults because they have just caught wind of Batty Clown. But by the time this cultural landmark reaches the adult population, the 12-year-olds have already moved on. Winky is the new thing now. They all want to try his summoning ritual. They all want to upload the results to TikTok. Tweens huddled around black candles in basements, winking at each other and screaming themselves silly. A sea of these videos wash over the internet. How many children have called to Bloody Mary? How many of us have made our own Ouija boards, said Beetlejuice 3 times just to see? Rituals like these allow us to push boundaries in the safety of our home. They allow us to contact miracles and demons through tangible ceremony. This is why they never go out of style and why they're so appealing to children like Garrett, who watches the legend of Winky bloom around him with the utmost fascination and respect. In actuality, Winky is played by a middle-aged man, aided by 3 nephews. They are the ones who perform as the teens in the videos. They are sworn to secrecy to preserve the art object, and to their credit, they never tell another soul that the videos of Winky are fabricated. Even at the bitter end, they remain loyal to Uncle Wink. But Winky takes on a life of his own. Parents begin threatening their children. Don't make me wink into this mirror, young man. Girl, I will call Winky here right now. You have to be good or we're going to lock you in the attic with Winky. This last one said half-jokingly in a TikTok video Uncle Wink has discovered through the hashtag WinkyGreenbrier hashtag. A father lightheartedly threatening his daughter who sobs and screeches in the background, I'll be good. Winky's YouTube account receives death threats, many of them written by tweens. Your days are numbered, clown freak. I will fuck you up. I will put screwdrivers in your ears and hammer them in until your brain pops. Uncle Wink understands. These kids want to prove to themselves, their friends, their brothers and cousins, that he is real and worthy of fear, but they are not afraid. They will kill him if he enters their home. But at the same time, he's baffled. He's a big fan of found footage horror movies, and he just wanted to share that love with his nephews. He wanted to create something fun and truly creepy, and he knows that the creepiest narratives are the one that leave the most of the work to their audience's imagination. Nothing is more terrifying than ourselves. But perhaps he left too much room. Perhaps the lore has gotten away from him. Perhaps his nephews won't actually be safe if the Winky myth continues to spread. And of course, because Winky is getting attention, others want attention as well. On October 1st, Greenbrier receives its first official clown sighting. A man in a snarling clown mask is spotted at the edge of a playground holding a single black balloon. Garrett has done enough research on clowns at this point to understand that this is not a true clown. True clowns wear makeup, not masks. True clowns are performers, not terrorists. Because this is the third clown that has appeared recently in Greenbrier's otherwise sleepy consciousness, the police deploy extra patrols to keep the public calm. Cruisers prowl the neighborhoods. Uncle Wink watches them through his blinds. He feels terrible that he is the indirect cause of all this. He wonders if Batty feels bad too, whoever and wherever she is. Her true identity is never uncovered. Another clown is spotted running down Flower Avenue. Reports are unclear and a bit hysterical, but it seems this clown was carrying a blood-soaked axe. Garrett sees this news and wonders if it was someone else's performance piece, if they lost their nerve and were just running home. He has not told anyone about his clown obsession, but his mother worries for his safety. She doesn't let him borrow her makeup anymore. Some other kid in Greenbrier Middle School allegedly gets attacked by a clown the next week. He says the clown lunged out of the woods and started laughing at him with blackened teeth, a red face, and a white rubber nose. He whipped at the kid with the length of piano wire and kept howling, "I'm Whips! Ha ha ha! Call me Whips!" The kid has long welts along his arms and neck to back this story up. The next day, a girl named Olivia brings a knife to school. She claims it's for protection from the clowns, but her principal isn't so sure. Her principal, in his spare time, is Winky the Clown. He doesn't trust this girl. He knows what people are capable of. But Olivia insists. She saw a clown behind the school. He said his name was Foxtrot, and he offered her gum. When asked to describe Foxtrot's physique, Olivia simply begins to cry. She never offers a definitive answer about Foxtrot's appearance. But once it hits Snapchat, Foxtrot's mythos spreads wildfire fast. He likes to take kids out to the burnt shell of a barn behind the Fresh and Good, and he force feeds them candy until their guts burst and candy chunks burble out from split seams around their stomach. He laughs and he sews their popped skin flaps onto his clothes and he dances a jig in their blood. Foxtrot loves to dance. Sometimes he takes his victims' bodies and he makes them dance with him. Foxtrot is real is the first video. Some dumb kid tromps up to the barn at night and sees a light on inside. Sees a black shape dancing with a limp companion, bellowing in a deep basso. "You make me such a happy clown." The kid screams and runs away. This is ideal folkloric fodder. More Foxtrot videos appear, each one the same, despite police assurances that no one has been in that barn for years. Maybe the police are in on it. Two boys from Greenbrier High get the bug next. This entire trend is so sick, so funny and new that they drive out to the Party City in Mortonkill, 2 towns over, to buy clown outfits for themselves. They march out into the woods with their phones to film something that'll really scare the shit out of their little cousin Danny. Danny's such a pussy. He'll shit his pants. It'll be hilarious. But when they get to the path in the woods that leads to Danny's backyard, they have to pause. They stand in the autumn dark, in the cold, listening. Laughter. A chuckle somewhere in the trees, mocking, teasing, hunting. The boys are frozen in fear. They turn on the flashlights on their phones, point them up the trail. and a man in a clown mask is barreling toward them. He is huge, with thick, hairy arms. Scabs riddle his hands, his wrists picked at and raw. The boys can see the yellow in his eyes. He reaches for them. A cardboard sign dangling from twine about his neck reads, "Free hugs." He is covered in metal spikes strapped across his chest and stomach in gleaming, uneven rows. The boys run so fast, they trip over their big red shoes. They slice up their white gloves on branches, sticker bushes, pine needles. When they emerge from the woods on the other side, they are two bloodied clowns standing before a street of houses with windows leading to bedrooms. They feel eyes, child eyes, wide in the dark, gaping at them. They run away into the shadows, tell no one that this ever happened. This is the beginning of the end. 3. Clowns begin to appear everywhere. In vacant buildings, waving out at the street, standing very still in the woods, driving around in rusted Mini Coopers, cars packed with bright balloons. Olivia's mother is sitting on her screened back porch one evening when she hears someone sprinting through her backyard. She has the porch light on, can't see past the screen, but she hears footsteps pounding closer, until a clown bursts out of the darkness and throws himself at the screen, slapping it with both hands, cackling wildly, shaking his head, practically biting at the wire mesh, and wants in so bad. As soon as the woman runs inside, slams the door, looks out the window, the clown is gone. Uncle Wink's recently installed Ring camera catches a very short clown galumphing up to his front door and rattling the knob at 2 a.m., chef knife glittering in one hand. The clown stomps around the entire house, checking all the windows. He rattles both front and back doors once more before leaving the house at 2:14. Another security camera captures a clown creeping through a woman's window and crawling around her floor at 3 a.m. on all fours. The clown crawls from the kitchen window into her bedroom, watches her sleep for a while, then crawls into her daughter's room, watches her sleep. The clown then crawls up into the attic and is never seen again. The woman turns her attic upside down but finds no sign of the clown. She begins to wonder if her daughter was playing a trick on her. She never trusts the poor girl after that. The feeling is mutual. In fact, trust begins to break down across the board in Greenbrier. The clowns could be anyone. Anyone could be aiding them, trying to appease them, calling to them, you name it. People worry that this is a full-on invasion. Perhaps Greenbrier has drawn some sort of energy to itself or opened a doorway, sent out some cosmic calling card. The first few clowns may have been human, sure, but something else has clearly arrived. These new clowns are mean, fast, inhuman. As Halloween approaches, the veil between worlds is growing thinner. After all, anything is possible. The night before Halloween, Olivia discovers something terrible in her father's closet. A full clown costume, red polka dot pants, floppy shoes, a sign that reads, "Free hugs." Olivia confronts him while he's watching TV. What the hell is he doing with all this? He laughs. Oh, he meant to throw that away, but forgot. See, he plans to bring it out on Halloween, but then everything got so heated with these killer clowns, he figured it'd be in poor taste. He looks down. The girl has a knife in his gut, buried all the way up to the hilt. He's so surprised, Olivia manages to slide the blade out and plunge it back in 3 more times before he gurgles, "Stop!" Olivia walks out of her house covered in blood. She marches up to her neighbor's house, knocks on the door. The neighbor boy answers, and Olivia says very matter-of-factly, "The entire town is clowns. Every single adult. That's why they tried to take my knife away at school. I'm lucky I hid it. My dad tried to kill me. We have to kill them first. Will you help me?" Garrett blinks at her. She looks so beautiful standing there, hands smeared dark red. She is the most beautiful girl in the entire 7th grade. He's had a crush on Olivia for years. "Okay," he says, "I'll get my machete." The children spread word through their phones, through secret communication networks their parents barely understand. Suddenly, people have a reason to listen to Garrett. It's all he ever wanted. He records a 6-minute long TikTok manifesto on killing clowns. He considers it his best work. By the time there's another clown sighting, they're ready. On Halloween, children swarm the streets hunting for candy. At 9 p.m., a man is spotted in the middle of town square, standing just underneath the World War II monument. He is dressed as a clown, all in black, with a black wig. He is photographed looking glum, frowning his black lips. He does not move. He simply waits. 500 children and teenagers and young adults in their early 20s descend upon his position. They wield everything from paring knives to literal pitchforks. They chant, "Kill all clowns! Kill all clowns!" as they march through the bitter Samhain wind, full of dead leaves and pumpkin seeds and ticks. The swarm of voices is deafening. Soon, the clown in black is surrounded. The youth have hundreds of cell phones trained upon him. He frowns at them all, and for a moment, no one moves. Everything is real now. Parents stand awkwardly, nervously at the edges of the square. They are all unarmed, but some of their kids even have guns. The clown stares glumly at them all. At last, he licks his lips and speaks. His voice is a low, miserable drone. "I'm Hogtie." Nobody moves. "My name," he announces louder, "is Hogtie." Nobody moves. Hogtie takes a breath. "Mankind learns nothing from its cycles," he declares. "You are told over and over, point blank, that history repeats, and you never hear." "What are you talking about, you sick asshole?" Garrett starts to ask, but then yells because Hogtie is speaking along with him, saying every word as Garrett says it. Garrett's throat closes up as he screams, Hogtie bellowing back at him with empty eyes. "Stop it! Haven't you ever wondered where nightmares come from or why you all have them?" Hogtie asks as he reaches inside the flaps of his black jacket. "Your souls remember what you've done in other selves, in other times, but you never listen." "Who are you?" Olivia yells. Hogtie stares at her. "Hogtie is Hogtie. Why? Don't you understand?" Then he opens his jacket, revealing an unbelievable amount of plastic explosive. "Even this you will forget," Hogtie bellows. "Always you forget." The children rush him, screaming, trying to pin him down as he booms, "You're all clowns." Then he presses a button on his lapel and erases 79% of Greenbrier from existence. Garrett and Olivia are standing close enough that their bodies pop like balloons and simply vanish. 0. For a long winter, Greenbrier lies empty. The remaining adults, distraught and lost, drift away into the ether. Corpses lay rotting in the streets. No one can stomach the cleanup. The entire place becomes a ghost town, dormant and smothered by snow. The surviving children disperse. They move in with aunts and uncles, distant relatives, foster homes. They live out in the world for a long time, years. The lost adults pass away. The children grow up. And one day, en masse, these children, now grown, look up from their offices in Chicago, their single-bedroom units in Detroit, Pittsburgh, Albany, Austin, Atlanta. They reach out, reconnect, and they decide to rebuild Greenbrier. It'll be better this time. A childhood ideal reborn, a hometown with no clowns. They return to the ruins of Greenbrier in summer, with the families they made or found in the outside world, the children they've had or adopted, the partners they've taken. They sweep bones out of the town square. They launch construction projects across town, creating jobs and paving new roads, rebuilding old homes, a new school. Life blooms everywhere. It feels very big and adult to reclaim this place as their own. Gone are those deceitful adults. But these adults refuse to tell their children about the clowns. They don't want to scar their young ones with history. Greenbrier deserves a fresh start, free from the phantoms of Batty, Winky, Foxtrot, and Hogtie. A generation passes in peace. The children of these children have children, and everyone lives in Greenbrier in quiet contentment. Until one fall day, little Tessa Dennison brings a knife to school. She claims it's for protection. Well, is someone bullying you? The principal of Evergreen Middle School asks. No, Tessa murmurs. I saw a creepy clown. She says she saw this clown at the edge of her backyard, standing in shadows, but no one else saw it. Her backdoor camera didn't capture anything. So, what is that? A nightmare? An honest mistake? Boredom? It's difficult to say. Sometimes kids just get spooked, restless. We get itchy. We can't help ourselves. But whatever the reason, however it starts, one thing is always certain. It is only ever a matter of time before the clowns begin to congregate again. Thank you.
I didn't used to be scared of clowns, but I think now I am.
That I saw your reaction to the clown in the attic. That one really got you.
Oh.
I don't know if this makes it better or worse, probably worse, but I will just very quickly say that the main inspiration for this story was the documentary about Wrinkles the Clown. And that his story goes through many of the same major beats, and all the particular instances of like found footage and TikTok videos and whatnot throughout are heavily inspired to the point of like not even quite being fiction from clown stuff that was around in like 2016 when the creepy clown zeitgeist was really happening. So
Right. I remember somebody getting murdered when they were in clown costume. Is that the guy?
Yeah, there were a couple of incidents like that. I forget what school it was, but when the clown craze was really at its peak, there were like 1,000 students at this one university who were like, "Oh, there's a clown on campus," and we're storming around campus trying to find this clown. And it's just started as an art piece that Wrinkles the Clown just wanted to make a creepy YouTube video, and then a few years later was like, oh my god. So I just think it's fascinating.
It is disturbing, and yet also a little bit funny in places.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, but I did find myself thinking, if Jeannie had lived there, those bodies wouldn't have been left out.
Composting.
She learned a lot from the first 5 Greenbriers.
Ooh. Do you ever say where Jeannie is? Sometimes I
No.
do wonder if there's like an accidental you've made a share.
That's right. Tie-in opportunity.
Fascinating. Ooh. Oh, thank you, Sam. That was something else. Oh my goodness. Ooh. I'm laughing and shivering at the same time, you two. All right. Well, I'm here every week. We don't get Sam and Angela every week. Sorry. But soon again, I hope. Both of you. Because we love having you here. Next week, our readers are Wole Talabi and RJ Taylor. I recommend checking storyhour2020.com the day of the reading for any announcements, any changes. And, it's also a good place to check the calendar and find out who's going to be reading next. And if you've missed any story hours, you can watch all the 2025 ones and all the 2024 ones and all the 2020 ones, and I think all the 2021 ones, and a lot of the 2023 and 2022 ones, but not all yet, on YouTube, because we're migrating them over from Facebook. So bear with us as we get that spiffed up. But, we have links on the Story Hour site that go through to wherever the stories exist. So go find some more stories. A few may even have clowns. So, Angela Sylvaine, Sam Rebelein, thank you so much for reading for us this evening. This has really been phenomenal. Thank you to Daniel out there enjoying your vacation. Happy travels. Look forward to seeing you again soon. But look at what you missed. Jeez. And all of you who are watching now on Zoom, on YouTube, or some point in the future, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being part of this story hour. Good night.